Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you once again for joining me on the Little Crafted Show. Hello, my name is Eileen, and welcome to our card that ATC card that I'm calling Mojo. Basically, the ATC is just made out of some mixed media paper and some chipboard. I am now taking my my little tiny attacher from Tim Holtz, and I'm using some paper. Some scrapbook paper. I can't remember the name of the scrapbook paper. I apologize. And then now I will be distressing the edges with my scissors. Then I will be taking some walnut stain to the project and go around the edges and inking up the edges. That's the word. Sorry about that. And that's some Tim Holtz paper. It's called the Paper Stash. And I'll be cutting some words out. Some letters, and spelling out the word Mojo. At this point, I'm using Rusty Hinge, Fire Brick Red, and Walnut Stain to add to the center of the ATC, and I will be using a paintbrush to make it a watercolor. Distress inks activate with water, and they blend really nicely, so I'm trying to make the card not so harsh. At this point, after I do that, I'll be taking my Martha Stewart heat gun or heat tool to dry it up. You can just leave it and set it aside to dry, but I wanted to hurry up and finish the project. It was at this point that the paper started to, the scrapbook paper and the mixed media paper started to come up no matter how much I dried it. So at this point, I decided to use some Scott Scott quick drying adhesive to adhere everything back together again. It does kind of overrun a little bit. Again, I'm very disappointed with the formula this time around, so I just basically use a towel that I got at some car place that I went to with my husband. They use these at the shop. And they're really absorbent and they work really well and they're very durable. And then I'll just add the glue here and there. And then at this point, I believe I will be using a stamp, which is from Stampendous. It's a mixed media stamp. And first I will be using walnut stain. I'll do it in the center, and on one side I'll use Fire Brick Red, and on the other side I will be using some Rusty Hinge, and it's just a round scroll. I like this stamp a lot. Again, it's a Stampended stamp. There's the walnut stain, and then I will be cleaning it off using the Fire Brick Red. And then at this point, so I'll clean it off, and then after I do those colors, then I'll come back with the walnut stain and I'll go over the other sides as well. I use some Fantasia Artist Premier Coloring Pens. I thought they were watercolor, but they're not. And I use a brown, a dark brown, and some reds and orange. And they don't have names on them. They do have numbers. 8, 40, 47, 5, and 7, I believe, are the numbers that I use for the Fantasia Artist Premium Coloring Pens. Later on, after I cut the letters out, I go over them with some Faber-Castell Manga Black Set Pit Pen, and the tip is F. I also added some splatters to the card afterwards, and it's from Shimmers, My Bleeding Heart. And here are the pens. Like I said, I'll try to show you guys that. Oh, I also used a Tim Holtz stencil to help me with the lines. I wanted some lines on this. I wanted a lot of different patterns on this particular ACT. So yeah, so at this point the camera does turn off. That's where I realized it's not. So that's my arrangements, and that's what it looks like so far, and this is what the card is with everything that I mentioned. I will have a full list on my blog. Thank you again for watching, and